أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له هاديا مرشدا. ونصلي ونسلم على الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين وبعد. All praises belong to the Almighty Allah. May His peace and blessings be upon the noble Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, his household followers, and all those who follow the path of Allah to the day of judgment. Welcome all of you to another edition of our series on Islam. This time around, we're looking at marriage and mate selection. Yet the otumfo nyankopo din na efiti ase ahomobro ne odefo. Na sie nyina enka otumfo nyankopon adom nyina wura nhyira ne nasomdwe enka nkomhwene Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ni fiefo na chidifo ene wan a ombukuta okese na no asem akosi atemna ya mamu nyina ahaba enem so yesan aka ye nachi atwani ahwe asempa edimu ye papapa e woni pa astre eno ne ade a yetudine aware ene ekwana a bema ana oba ebefaso na ne saka ne mokani. Indeed, this particular subject is extremely important for so many reasons. Sa sempoi a yebaka hosa ehu hiye ye papa edi mani pedua enam ensempo be se minu ana miense. The first reason why it is important for us to look at marriage is the spiritual benefit that can be derived from it. The enti emma ehu hia si abeka aware ho asem sabre eni se sunsun kwanso suban kwanso aware ehu won faso asem bibia ba eni se. Then number 2, in marriage, partners provide mutual support for each other. Aware mu so obani be me nyinara obi asorigina no aboa no yonko senia efata. And then thirdly, marriage comes along with a psychological boost for the couple. Aware so eboa emedi panadwiri sinipi e wa setirem na sabi wonya adwiri so ahoto e wa kwahoro bi so. Then number 4, marriage comes along with one important thing in life, and that is procreation. Our reason and the boy, my Timmy, awo ne nipa na se etimi dore bribia. And then finally, marriage creates the opportunity for the couple to have children and train them appropriately. Our reason and the boy, Emma obane bema, eguta udie emapiem. No woman timi ahwe nkwadai nyankopon enti So in essence, the 5 points that I just raised constitute the cornerstone of the importance of marriage. Sansem pop bese enumi abibosu. And the me who hears ampa see the power. Sunsu kwanso, suban kwanso, apoto kwanso, asomdwe kwanso. Sanye me nyina yekeka bomo a na fata se ni bebia. Aware aims. My beloved brothers and sisters, somebody may ask, after all, what is the purpose of marriage? What will you say? Now, I require DNT anyway. Of course, somebody may say, marriage is just for sex. Obi Beka said, our radio, I will hot say, Obani Bema, Obi Jasabi, and Nigeria. There is no doubt about the fact that mutual sexual satisfaction constitutes one of the key purposes of marriage. Adia achinie eni hu ne se adia friend se obani bema ebeda na sabi o mani beje o onu otufo na nkasa wo pensa ena sabi. But marriage goes beyond that. Nemo aware ne faso anasa ne bota yesine so enye sabi obani bema enayeko. If that were to be the case, then people should have continued even to enjoy sexual satisfaction without any reduction throughout their lives. Senka botaya esi awariya ni so obani bema be hia no mandadea. Ene na wasenka sa eden. Ene en pamuasa na hoade no. Ene ka senka sotida. Cause they be a better than focus in the pan. Maybe we're francis. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a higher purpose more than what we think of. Nesu nyankopon butaye a esi ne so enti obo obani bema se wo nhia ewa ware no ayadia ewo so papa. Incidentally, if you look at everything that Allah has put in creation, anything that any arrangement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in place in creation comes along with 2 things. Ade bia wo tumfo nyankopon wabo na enhyehyeye bia waye ewo nipa asitara ede niema mienu ena. What you see order wo hwe nyankopon abode na wote na woni hwa wa wo kunu se ehyepa ena. And in every order it is arranged in such a way that order aims at attainment of a particular purpose. And ehyepa bia nyankopon ayoso awo na dom achedi mu so se wo de odi hwe ne han a wo bokuru se sa hye na otufo nyankopon ayana bibi nti enema. Similarly, in marriage, a man and a woman coming together in a relationship, Samson our remus nyankopon watwa ekwan ede ato se oba ne bema enhia emre na midinkan eka se butaya esi nyankopon so enye se oba ne bema beta intra. The purpose of marriage, our value indicator, is higher than just sexual satisfaction. So that order of marriage, so and share that our rehuna. The key purpose of marriage is for the wife and husband to live together under one roof, happily together, and then bring forth the children and train them to be the servants of Allah. So butaye kasipa esi otufo nyakopo ni so ema enti open pam awaria opesa oba eni bema ehia na nyakopo ya toma emapiem na oba ni bema ka wo mutiri sa etete nkwara mo be nyakopo enkwara. In this direction, marriage has become a divine institution, and it will remain so till the end of time. Now, Oba said, a different set of prayer. And therefore, Islam has adopted about 6 main approaches approaches in the treatment of marriage. And to overall say, Islam so what the aware afa huro bese ensias. And I call them approaches. Somebody may use methods. Now, Miss Fred sa akwahuro ensia. Ekwan a ofaswa. Ebwa wo te so Islam so ni general ase efaware. The first approach adopted by Islam and among an adventure din kai efa aware ho and say marriage is sanctified. Aware enyamso. Aware enyamso. That is the first approach. Islam is saying marriage is like salah. If you marry, it's like the performance of prayer. Islam will say aware. So oh yeah, also where do we get the foundation and the basis for this kind of presentation? If you go into the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses one expression 3 times in the book. So Quran 1. What will say? Quran wakasa bia mako miensa awo yusu asempobi enodekasai. That expression is mithaqan ghalidha. That expression is mithaqan ghalidha. Mithaqan ghalidha, that is a blazing contract, a blazing covenant, a covenant that is important. Sa en sampomiasa nyankopo si mithaqan ghalidha. Just chaka a would drop empty mu and one for so. Nasa chaka and nona or 2 for Yankupo. What do you say? Chaka it. And it finds expression in 3 places of the book. Now, Biami and Sa and Yankupo. What you say? So we have 3 places where the Quran has mentioned the expression mithaqan ghalidha. Tia Biami and Sa a 2 for Yankupo. What point it is said Chaka a mithaqan ghalidha a Chaka emu ek. Those places are Surah Al-Ahzab, or let's start with Surah An-Nisa. In Quran chapter 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the relation between man and woman. At the end of that particular text, which talks about the relation between man and woman, Allah says, وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْكُمْ مِثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. That the women have taken a blazing covenant with you, the man. It took Quran in the tea. And now, Surah An-Nisa. Yakupon or Kasafa or Bani Bema Ekaka and Wasa. Now, what you say? A man, woman, man, Akamu, one bomb, and Wakana, a sombo, our Yakupon. Then he saw. In other words, marriage is extremely important in the sight of Allah. Not just a dear friend say Amaria. A demo kase. So that is what I call the approach of sanctity. And not a matter to say Amaria Islam say aims. Then let's listen to the Prophet. In a very popular narration to have been said by the Prophet Sallallahu. Your hadith bia man bien wa obaka ware ho asama on fere ho asama. The Prophet said, man tazawwaja faqad akmala nisfa dinihi falyattaqillaha fi nisf al-baqi. The Prophet says, whoever gets married, that person has completed half of his religion, and he should fear Allah in the remaining half. And Kupshani say, Obia Obowana. But the contradiction is, Asaba a here to say, Obowana Yaminti. Was it Obia Obowana? Say Odu for Yakuput. Was in Yakup Pong, Amanesum, a fan, or ye. Falia Takilaha for Nusful Bati. Was it a Fanakan for Suriyakup? In fact, marriage occupies this position because it has that status of a sanctity. Marriage and komsheni ekasafa who say if it's aware ni jina bre e Onyankopon che eso papa. Then the Prophet sallallahu, in addition to mentioning that marriage helps the one to complete half of his marriage, also states that in marriage you get the opportunity also to fear Allah. Indeed, that brings us to the second approach. And komsheni na futu se o kire mu se obi a wo ba wa ye mienu ni wo nyam so fa ko e fa kan fa so wo tu fo nyako. When the man approached to mienu, apart from this particular hadith, apart from the fact that it is serving the purpose of sanctity, say hadith na kasa mu e kire se nyame ope a different salary. At the same time, the same hadith is leading us to the approach of motivation. Sa hadith kroya e sa twi adwene si enkoransha a Islam so e hye brante ni ketesia so boy. The third approach is the approach of encouragement. Approach to sumiansa any encouransha a Islam so e hye obani ba mo ware wi. Listen to the Prophet. Yentie komsheni asma waka. Wa fi budri ahadikum sadaqa. The Prophet says, if you have sexual intercourse with the wife, the two of you are going to be blessed. And komsheni say, obani bema omo beda wo mpawo. Nyankopon e ma wo hunsha. Then the Sahaba asked him, how can that be? It's just like somebody who wants to eat, goes to eat, fills his stomach. And then I want to have sex with my wife and I'm going to be blessed at the same time. The Prophet said, yes. And for how much say, now, it is a condo. Now, you want to come to one minute and say, you from Tuesday, I mean, document. So, what did he? Why you so called the North of Fun? Said the Open Osaka. And Commission say, I was here. And they needed an explanation from the Prophet. So, no, so we don't chill if we don't chill. And so the Prophet asked them, if this act were to be committed in an unlawful manner, wouldn't the person be punished? When the Commission says, Nasa Kwana, Bangman Fason in the Yedan, say, you're German or Koboya, Yaman Chinason. Say, Baba, what's the Yaman Chinasodia? No, I am a halal, a Kwanin Shirawodia, I was in Yamisha. The fourth approach is the approach of simplicity. Approach at also and night. Approach and commission is Quran, Rasul Salam, Quran and Commission Salam. I'm not saying that I was saying, a simple. May you hold, may you be jano. Let us make marriage very simple. And hear the Prophet. In another narration by Bukhari, the Prophet is reported to have said that the most blessed woman, the woman whose marriage will be blessed more, is the one whose dowry is very low. And Komsheni say, Oba na wari Nyankopon be shas. Wono ne ne sadaki dowry sika na etua eteresika ewofo. And then in another marriage, Aisarhunna mauna. The Prophet used the expression Aisarhunna mauna. In other words, all the preparations towards the marriage are simplified. And Komsheni Sakabim, apart from dowry, Sadak, what kind of person say, I was a man above him. Was it, I was there. Obanswa, in Shabona Mori, and in near, a room pimpamia, Walima Bayer, and a womb of Sicibia, a wolf from Edema Bear. I am for hypertension, and brother. Then we have the fifth approach, the approach of complementary roles. Sa complementary roles, Islam soon get to say, Oba and Bema, Obia when I send us from away, Obia to do what is eating. So the Quran on this states, when lay diverse roles and purposes. Quran is suggesting one or two for Yakobo or Bob Banabema. No being in the Juma, Yame, and Yaswan. So the man does his own, and the woman supports him to achieve the objective. And the Oba, bear the Chefa Fata, bear so I am the Chefa Fata. The Quran says, Inna Sayakum la chapter. Quran says, Mujuma Woody will be able to do Yame Apo Etaman. At least if you don't know anything. It is the duty of the man to labor, to work, and feed his family. And your brother said it. So some people what you chuma and they fear. Some of them are. And it is the duty of the woman to be in the house and take care of the environment in the house and take care of the children. And obanso na sani kese a edi mu ekuta ne se. Moto to do kuna sitana bi. Ne manu and se ombi bia e ofie. And then finally, the approach of capital provision. The sixth approach, which is the last one that I'm considering here, is the approach of capital provision. Approach of those who age, and only what I call capital provision. And marriage, our answer. Only get it. Quran chapter 31, chapter 30 verse 21. Quran ni ti ebiasa surah Rum. The ayah etoso abiru ba. Allah says, "Wa min ayatihi, from among his signs, an khalaqa lakum min anfusikum azwaja, that he created from you your mates, your wives. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you have tranquility in living with them. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, and then he made between you, he created between you affection and mercy, compassion. So that's the ewa Quran niti ebiasa ani yimu edwenu ba. Otufo nyako se. Na no wasem ni bi ni se. Wo yi mo yire no efri mu. That's our semedi. Na mo ko won chanso mo nya akomatayam awon tsebo toso bi. Na Nyankopon si wa ja'ala bainakum mawaddatan wa rahma. Aha na getere no. Na Nyankopon si wo di edo ene ahomo pro. No di aye aware get. Iti aware. When affection goes away, there's no marriage. When compassion goes away, there's no marriage. Iti aware mo se edo free hwa asamaba. Emma sebe ahomo bro so free hwa aware. So take note of these two things. Mawadda wa rahma. Love and compassion. And ahomo bro. These are the two foundations upon which marriage is built. When if I can think can be known, that be pop our it is. My beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, the marriage has to come off. And what's our area? We'll soon talk about how to select your wife, because it is part of this particular presentation. And Chelibia, Yebura, actually, one of us, Ubenya, but at least now, let us look at some of the conditions that constitute marriage in Islam. She said, a human being, and there was a dimu and sana aware, Yatudin said, the first condition is the agreement between the two parties. Conditional, and now I didn't care what anybody said. I was saying, oh, Barney Beverly and Edutun, so Bawai, will be for so. Forcing a girl into marriage, because that is what normally happens here, is against Sharia. Some of or Abaya, then Amari, it's Islam. It so happened during the time of the Prophet that a young girl was forced into marriage by the father. And Komshedibras, the young girl come to the prophet to inquire about the status of the marriage. The bride she said, "What anyway? Now buy a hat." It was not about she was saying, "Oh, the busa. Now what? The gentleman said." And the prophet said, "If the marriage was consummated against will, then go back and get it dissolved." How do you catch it? Say, "So I want to shell and do it in the womb, but the girl was very intelligent and wise. I buy her, and I give her. What's in company? By the bound chair. Now we perceive the status of the marriage. In other words, the young girl told the prophet that I had come to you to inquire about the status of the marriage. At least for the entire Muslim Ummah to know the position of the girl in respect of selection of a partner. What's in company? Bami Bauch. Now we perceive who is our religion. Sometimes in our homes, somebody has come in there to ask for a girl's hand for marriage. Yeah, why? Boys will be free. I want to know about or pay a baba. Go out there and check. Is he a rich person? Or is he going to go back? Or is he got? What is he got? What pay be found to? Is he coming from our tribe? Or from your bush, your group one? From Busanga, Santi, Dagati, Kusasi, Mapuji, or from Mubia? If not, they put him somewhere. They put artificial obstacles in the ways of our daughters. And I know quite a good number of our daughters are staying in their homes. Some of them are beyond even 30 years, they don't have husbands. Now, one day, and near my way here, and then I'm so caught, and they're chilling what I. And my ability to fear, or what the Burufia gets up, so the agreement between the two parties is extremely important. It obani bemenina yababusa no makasa ani yapeso eyadia and the first condition. The second condition is that we should get the wali, the one who provides support for the girl. The wali could be the father or any representative of the father, preferably from the family. It could be the uncle, the brother, or any male person that the father would so choose. The wali, and where is it? Where papa na o papa, and na said, Ninu ya bema, ni papa be yin so onyira, ana papa na nkasa ninu ya, ana bema be ofre busu enu papa be yin so onyira. And then the dowry that will have to be paid. Dowry is not determined. Islam so yen twa bo bi mfa to ho. It is left to the good sense of the girl and her family. And then the Obana Kasa Yemuan, or Nina Busia and the girl. But the underlying principle is that it has to be simple. It has to be minimal. Never and she say, I walk on the set and was set says, it should be within the paying capability of that person. And the partner of the you cannot want it. Then the fourth condition, availability of witnesses. There could be up to 4. Now, our condition of Tosso and 9, and it's even your advance 4. Now, 7, omedi one answer. Yeah, up to a 9 is okay. Me no free, Obana Muslim, me no free, Bema Muslim. And now back. In fact, this condition I'm going to talk about, if you go into a lot of the books on fiqh, you may not find this condition. Your condition no back to be oha. And also a no any Asian. Uko, your friend is saying, books are a casa for law, maybe no hawish. That condition is the condition of publicity. Say, I want to down. This condition is very important because if you can't hide in an obscure place, consummate the marriage, and say, I've got a wife. As someone who forces said, what do about a question to come baby? No matter the share of society to do. edietra saya echira wode obade namwa obi a wo society nim say wo ware no nura ye boni dawro ye kan radio so edom be hia obi ahunu bi na obi akwa kasa ni hunu ase beti wone ne plan na if the Prophet was what in the shubha. The Prophet says, stay away from things that will bring doubt on you. The Prophet says, and therefore, it is important we publicize the marriage. And I'm saying to you, and then, the Malikiya school of legal thought brought in another condition. When the Imam spoke about this condition, a lot of scholars challenged him and criticized him. Imam Malik and the students, one can say some way, man of over hey, and then the Malik again. And that condition is the condition of compatibility. So condition of compatibility. Conditional. I was said of Bana Batman Hoa. I was a woman status and Nenekaka. Hey, Mammy, dear, was it compatibility? I was on my level. For example, reports reaching us, empirical evidence indicate that if a young man sees a rich woman, difference in status, this young man is poor and this lady is rich, super rich. The white man will say, cut your coat according to your size. Cut your coat according to your size. Bro, this is how the house I always say, I'm a some of the corner. And to frequently because of greed. Some young people will not look at this. And I'm tough to brand the pure head of an or I'll make sugar mommy. Then he goes in there and marries a woman. But every woman, the psychology of every rich woman is control. Control. That is the nature of the woman. When they get money, they want to control. Or bad man, they bring you see a pair of control. To me. And so now I'm using your body at all. Yes, I'm Marco. Look at the condition I'm bringing in here. Mrs. G said, yes, sir. So if this young man has gone in there, married the woman. Now the following morning, we know the opposite should be the case. It is the woman that has to instruct. How do you go to the kitchen and get me tea? How do you go to this one and get me this one? But because the woman is rich, she's not ready to do that. Yet the enemy said, our name was around now Alaji Muhammad, Alaji Ibrahim, Alaji Isabu, what you saw from our hall. And I will catch Haja, Madam Mamiti Capaco, Madam Sensubrame, Fensus Megaya, Minko Jarre. Mimawatias, yes, say, Sawabawi. Yes, you saw them. Oh, yeah. And you can see a complete turning down of the balance that has to be maintained in the family. What will you say? And Shepa, Yankoponsi, a Rijalu Kawamuna Island said. Yankoponsi, a ma, a member shows, a member more direction, member no winning. I feel your banner, sorry, Champiata, Wapim Soba. So Imam Malik said, no, if you're marrying, marry a woman of your status. Imam Malik is a woman there, how about one new come? Now, say, I should get everything. But if you're lucky and you get a God-fearing woman who has money and is ready to marry you and give you the money to use, fantastic. Now, what did you know when you're about was running a musical and also better as you got a house? No one should send you wow pet, send you on pay. Now the marriage is consummated. The Malams have finished their work in the Masalachi. And a purpose is known to do back. Yachicha, whatever. Whatever Dimu is a free baby Walima. Walima is Sunnah. The Prophet said, I will live while I will be shy. And come to see when you Walima, Saudia, Yantia, or dying Babylon, or Yanra. Yanka over your Fako, the Emperor Walima. But the danger in the Muslim Ummah in Ghana in particular, that's where I know. Danger. Monsieur Abba Walima Munisa and the hotels. They take Walima to a hotel. Walima is supposed to be an act of worship. Walima and ibadah. Anybody pee hotels for a no hotel. I heard of a Walima in Accra. I think the guy spent over $50,000 at no hotel. This kind of marriage has no blessing in the sight of Allah. Metiawari be kesi no hotel. And omo kwa Accra. And omo kwa ye Walima. That's how are we? Miss Atkins so says go over $50,000. So how are we? And me shira on yami from. Look at Zongo, the poor, how they're suffering. Zongo, never be any yatiti. Go incredible from here, fita a then you do this exercise. No, yes, seek a fee will send. So Walima, what form should it take? A campaign for your Walima. You did it, you know, no doubt about that. Then the woman of their own group in a house, no male is there. A man who won't go will film will be a woman. Better be any home. No one can say to you at woman. On that occasion, your friend will be deaf. It's a small drum that is allowed. We call it a duff. The man among themselves, among their Germany. Then, better still, we can also organize lectures on such occasions. Where people eat, they dine, they listen to the word of Allah. On such occasions, so ye kasachira nyame kwano. Anybody didn't know so no asaji nyamiasam any coffee. But are we following this practice? We are not. It is very shameful act. And we are fee to see Muslim women dancing on the streets of Abuabo, dancing on the streets of Nima, dancing on the streets of Sakasaka. And ma kukuda from Kremofo ma. Woman you almost sa Abuabo council, almost sa Nima council, almost sa Shukra council, almost sa Sakasaka or Tamale. Then you call this kind of act. No afresa Subawan say a Subana a didipane a kunyamiche. Allah doesn't work that way. Nyame and let us fear him, for our days are numbered, and he has days that we cannot talk. And we see a man I'm so kind of come near tears of me if we say I did she at this son. Yana a son. The Yameson Napan Edruba Yanuni baby at the casa. That is why Allah told Moses, what the Kirhum be a Yamina was to remind the people of the days of Allah in Surah An-Nisa. Yankupa Kajira was said, Kaimon, and Nayami Yankupa Media. What are the days? The days that you'll be sick, and Naben Media. They are the days that you'll be sick, and that will be Yariadapa, who will be a walker. The day that you will die, and that will be that day it belongs to Allah. And the day that you'll be buried, and beneath the grave, and are down there, you have no option but just to either receive punishment or receive heaven. Now, see also, would you bring you either society and I'm subject to go on your friends? Now, marriage has been consummated, Walima has been done. Now, the real job is going to take place. Yachisha Warevi, Yakwe Walima, Yedidi Yam, Afe Akaware for woman. first night would never be repeated in the life of the couple till they die. Sana do fan any die any ahomoka sepe a woman oba be bo hunu bi am dekosi so mo. Even if the man traveled 2 years without coming home, that first entry into the family, that even first night after that long journey, cannot be equal to that night. So Bema no grow to queen a chiri mfiemienu na okọ na mfiemienu echi eda ho banana do fane dika and to sad they are making. The feelings are different and Katian Ayasco. The mindset is different and can the woman Ayasco. Everything about it is wonderful. And the Englishman uses the word ecstasy. No pronisi sana to fana. And it's a woman. Allahu Akbar. But as good Muslims, every opportunity should be used to create a level of spirituality. Now, so I'm saying, I'm so full. Your baby, and your need your brand, your giving a meeting. Therefore, the first night, please have exercise patience. Don't rush. Because the woman is going to be yours forever, inshallah. First night, too much. Go slow. What do we do then? Look at the practice of the Prophet. First night, the man is sitting in the hall, he runs out, when it's around 8:30, 9 o'clock, he knows his wife is being brought. I'm going to say, Bibi Nam Kasoba, do benefit in the fear. The woman will be breaking the woman. So you're going to hide somewhere for about 1 hour. But that's the practice. And it's a good one because at least some element of shyness is being created. The producer, so the man goes out there, 1 hour he's back. He comes home. He comes home to see that there are new flowers in his home. Papa Mesa Bomu is a flower. Flower. Because that night, from top to toe, the woman is well dressed. A fruit from Obewa teacher. But, Mala, go slow, please. That to say, the first thing you have to think about is that it is Allah that has made it possible for you to have that woman in the home. And son, before you touch that woman, thank him first. Son, then you go pass. How do you thank Allah? Come back now first, obedience. The two of you should perform operation. Then you perform 2 rakah. No way rakah, you know. When you finish, the man should pray in the following manner. The prayer, if you don't memorize the Arabic version, that's not mean you shouldn't pray. So when the Arabic kasa na wari empaibon wa Arabic kasa, I know nkyerese me mo mpaye. Me bekenkan na ma kyerese. I'll read now and translate into English and then Twi. If you understand it in Twi or English, use any language at all and then do the same prayer. So you pray, Allahumma jannibna shaitan wa jannibna shaitan ma razaqtana. Oh Allah, keep us away from Satan, and every issue that you give to us, keep it away from Satan. What you find Yankopon, boy a who free bunsam, na your baby answer about words, but who buy every bunsam. Wonderful prayer. calls ensue. Now they are mouth here. And it is better for you to help her sip in the drink. In other words, a new life has begun. From and the going forward with a new spirit has begun. And the was soon from. But how do you get that caliber of woman who listen to you and fear Allah? A company and over first one. Ubenya oba obeti ukasa. Oba wanu obetwe. Oba wanu obenanti nyakoponti. That is where the problem is. The prophet selected one for us in a group of criteria. And Kumshani Nangasa was sick. The prophet said, women or every woman could be married for one of the following reasons. Was the same man now about the Ebu Bakuna Bema? Was he me one over? Then he said, Lijamalia for her beauty, maybe a prophet. Limalia because of her wealth. And then the second, Linesabia because of her status. And that's a bad legitimate. Only did her or because of her taqwa, deen, religion, piety. And I said, then the prophet made a choice for us. Then he said, Father, with that deen terbatia. He said, look for the one with piety, the one who fears Allah. The prophet made a choice at the expense of beauty, money, and status. And Kumshani said, Pegam Suruniba. Every say, because in life, in times of crisis, in times of adversity, in times of difficulty, it is the woman who fears Allah who stays around. Say ahuchaba, say yariaba, say musioba, bema setrema, or ba usro yami, on the bema. Also, of the other, when we look at the other conditions the prophet mentioned, each one suffers depreciation with the passage of time. Sami and Sana Kapon, what in some tongue, say ya more fat, say yes, it cap, say a jinabre, then be a nation, a desabian, nebi be a casademanis. If it is the issue of beauty, the woman will grow after 40, 50, 60. Halat, finished. So what then happens to the marriage? Obana nya via bia na bia num aduosia say na osia ketesia na no fa eko aware no yende. It's because of her wealth. The money flies like a butterfly. Ya ina nse sika so oba skenti na ko warana sika etimitu tena asante force sika ewo ataban. And Allah says what typical ayyamru dawulha bayna nas. The Allah says these are days that we alternate among men. Nyakopos wani and na me nyakopo machiche and na yawo de chana you be there di hia etimi ba sika diso no ba na wara ni sika ti what did you do uja abada. And then status, sometimes you can even be sick and you don't even want to occupy the position you have been given. It's like what means take it away. Now what me yare na jira bra nyakopo de ama okra e ha se je kro won timi so a Satan, what do you do? But the God fearing one is the one that we have to look for. And that is where the challenge is. So it is not the issue of tribe. It is not the issue of money. It is not the issue of beauty. And you have friend near him. And then you have a bani chapter. And then you have to Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honored amongst you in the sight of Allah is the one who fears Allah. Mumudia wodimu awu the mifa and you. So how then do I get, or you get, the woman who is God-fearing? The procedure is very simple. It's not trying or written. I can't have first one. Yes, Saka Oba was throwing a man. And yet, make a kind of meaning drama. No. It's a process that is reminiscent or that is totally dependent on reliance on Allah. And a process. I was what they will put train Yamisen Yame. Quran says, "Woman yet they will kill Allah for poor husband." That whoever relies on Allah, Allah is sufficient for him. It is not the constant way that we look for women. I have seen her at a wabo. Oh, let me go and try. How is her character? There's nothing like trying error in character. The Western societies are deceiving us. When you stay with a woman, you're having sex with her. And that's what is haram. So you've already spoiled the way. So you won't get the blessings that Allah has asked you to get. So what now? Now so about of fun. When anybody bring a can't stand here, and na die subai with the fin count. Or bounce in the subai and your bra when they come from when you know that. So the only path we have is to rely on Allah and pray. And the Quran back up and say, let me give a short story of a friend and I'll conclude my presentation. A friend of mine prayed over time. Me Madame Fubi, I mean a very close friend. This young man wanted to marry. And for almost 2 years, he was praying Mondays and Thursdays and then tired. This young man wanted to marry. Now, a branch of Pasua, a Jordan about the piano I had country. But in Fibiano, Tahaju, or Sarana Gona, Yakupo Enyi. Then he dreamt that his wife had been given to him and her name was this. Now, Madame Fi was so dire, and he didn't say. So he came to me and said, Brother Ishaak, could you get me a woman? I said, well, I have 2 or 3 in mind. Was it, Brother Ishaak, go back to my boy, I'm in Saka a year. I'm so. A man in the bureau, meaning best in Anamias. I'm here, yes, me now for the home. And let's find time and go and visit the families and then you choose. Now, say, meaning money, no, yes, I have a celebration, no one who madness will need you. But no, I want the names. Guess the name? He said, yes. Allahu Akbar. What do you mean by just the name? Mr. Now say, I want to know their names. So what we do, then I said, Fatih, let's just stop there. Mr. Fatih was no. I'm saying, Mala, they are not okay. Was it Fatima? I said, yes. I'm okay with the Fatima. Whether she's beautiful or not, it is that woman that I want. Also, bands and who falls and who you feel. And you didn't hear me cry. Once and it didn't appear so Fatima on one. Not knowing this young man, over the period that he was praying, on 2 occasions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a dream and the name of his wife was Fatima. Brother, I say, oh, Pampaya is the Hara, and I was around now. I come to you now. No, I saw Diane Preneur, may you retain the Fatima. So he said, Allah has shown him his wife, and he didn't have any other choice again. That name is out of him. As I'm speaking, they are married. They went to Britain together. And now they have 5 children. Happily married. The guy is a scholar. Say, Obama, I make a check. It's about 86. Oma 1. And fear you need me, Oma 5. And there, Oma 1. Still, it's a any marriage that is built on the fear of Allah has future. And any marriage that is built on any worldly thing has no future. Our Arabia, yapim pam getting them so on the wadachi. Now the yapim pam and the CBS we need that. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, marriage should be respected. Marriage should be loved. Marriage should be protected. Our rear, there was here share a dog our I was here sharing them so our near that. Thank you very much for the attention. I will meet again to continue with our series on Islam. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.